So, I've been playing a game recently. You know, that stealth game where you run behind people and press X, and you eavesdrop on others to get information that lets you sneak by unnoticed. Or if they do notice, you can always bluff your way out of it. That stealth game where you can press the left bumper to bring up a special HUD, letting you do stuff from a distance like open doors or even stun enemies temporarily. And then you can take down those enemies with a cool melee animation. You know, it also has some Uncharted-inspired climbing with obvious markers on the areas you're supposed to grab. And it's a new take on a well-established franchise, be it in movies or video games, and it kind of breaks the mold on how those games used to be, and it does it in such a cool way, in my opinion. The best part is it really makes you feel like Han Solo. Okay, you saw that coming. It's in the title, but it's true. I did just play 007 First Light when it came out, and all I could think of while playing is, hey, this is giving me that same feeling I had while playing Star Wars Outlaws. And yes, I know. But in my case, that's a good thing. I played Outlaws when it came out and before the internet discourse happened, and I loved it. Yes, it does have some of that Ubisoft bloat, and yeah, it's not a perfect game, but is this a safe space? I also don't think First Light is a perfect game either. I know, okay, listen. I had such a fun time playing First Light, and I adore stealth games. And if IOI decides to make 20 more, I'm there. But I can't help but see the similarities between these games, and the contrast between their receptions. And I wanted to talk about it. Now, I'm not saying these two games are identical. They're not. Outlaws doesn't have jaw-dropping set pieces, and First Light is not a semi-open world game. Outlaws doesn't have the cool melee combat system, and First Light doesn't have an adorable little buddy that follows you around. Except maybe Greenway. They do both have high-color jackets. Don't know what's up with that. Anyways, the reason I find them so similar is that deep down they're both going for the same feeling. Being a little rascal in a place you don't belong in and trying to get out mostly unscathed. Stealth games at their core kinda always go for this feeling. You're supposed to feel like an underdog and you're supposed to feel like you're going up against an overwhelming force, making it so going loud is probably not the best option. But the way both Bond and K-Bass act makes them very similar, and not even just story-wise. The gameplay mechanics reflect it as well. They can both bluff their way out of an alert, which is cool as hell, and it leads to great gameplay moments where you can laugh at a dumb guard, which is the best thing in a stealth game. You don't see that kind of thing in games like Metal Gear, Splinter Cell, or even Hitman, because their characters are mostly stoic, professionals at the top of their game, where perfection is rewarded instead of improv. And other kinds of mechanics lead to that, haha, I'm better than you feeling. Where both games really differentiate is that First Light is mostly linear and Outlaws is open world, kinda. And I understand that Ubisoft open world is kind of a hard pill to swallow since they've been doing it for basically 2 decades, but Outlaws needs that semi-open world because you're an outlaw. You take jobs from different crime syndicates and you gamble in the cantina on the way there. And once you finish the mission, you decide to instead betray the guy that gave you the job, and then you have to go on the run. In Outlaws, you have 3 different crime syndicates you work for, and you're constantly juggling your reputation with them. If you do a job for one faction, they might start liking you and they'll let you in on their base, letting you do stuff like buy exclusive things from their vendors or earn rewards for being loyal. But the second you take a job that stabs that same faction in the back, they'll start hating you. They might send mercenaries after you, and they definitely won't let you in on their base, forcing you to stealth around if you need to get inside. It does such a good job in creating that scoundrel feeling, in my opinion, and if it was completely linear, it wouldn't feel like you're the one on the hook for these decisions. It would feel like you're playing through a blockbuster movie, which is exactly where First Light decided to go that route, and I love it for it as well. I think both approaches work well, but clearly one is working better than the other. The discourse surrounding Outlaws was honestly kind of sad for me, because I really liked the game, and most of it was stuff that I thought was a little silly. Obviously, the dudes that didn't want to play as Kay or that thought she was too powerful or something need to go outside a little bit, but also how people got mad about some forced stealth segments that game overed when they got caught. These are mostly fixed now because Ubisoft saw the criticism and immediately caved. But that was such a huge point of contention for that game, and yet I don't hear that for First Light at all. Is it because yayyyy made Hitman and so people see First Light as a true stealth game, and Outlaws being a brand new story in the Star Wars universe, people thought it would be more action-oriented instead? Obviously, what also helps is that First Light has a more robust combat system. The gunplay is much better, but definitely the melee system is where the game really shines. I know people that have told me firsthand that they suck at stealth, but they're still enjoying the game. And that's because the game lets you get caught, you throw some hands, and then you're back to sneaking around. It's very forgiving in that aspect, and in sections where you have to shoot, gunplay is perfectly serviceable. Or as some people are finding out, is even just really cool. On the other hand, in Outlaws, Kate kinda sucks at shooting. Whenever she picks up a bigger gun than her blaster, she's not good with it. It feels more than a little clunky. In my opinion, that makes stealth more desirable, and it also makes sense for her character. She's a thief. But for people that don't really want stealth, well, they're obviously gonna prefer First Light's approach. And I don't blame them. But on my end, I'm just glad we're getting more stealth games. I'm glad people are liking First Light, and I'm hoping they make many more. I just wish Outlaws got a little bit of the same love.